Little history about our festival. It started in 1907 by the Justice of the Peace of Stahlstown, Elmer N. Miller. And he decided that there were too many young people moving away. He wanted to create an event that was kind of like a homecoming for them while also honoring their heritage from settlers from the area who would have made linen for their clothing. So the whole process here starts, they generally plant the flax in the end of spring, and then surely ready to harvest by early summer, like June, July type time era. So they would pull the whole plant out. The flax fibers run the whole length of the plant, so that's why we would pull it out and not chop it off. We don't want to waste anything and leave anything in the ground by chopping it off. So at the top of the plant there are these seed bowls, and they're also pretty blue flowers. They've tripled up today since it's so hot. But they need to get those seed bowls off. So we have one type of process here using these two wooden blocks. We also have a comb that does the same process, just a different way. And you would run the flax through, those seed bowls pop off. They would collect those seed bowls, break them open, and take the seeds out of them. They would keep what they need to use for next year's crop, and the rest of it they would use for many different things. You can press it to make linseed. You can also make poultices out of it. They would have many different uses.
Pancakes?
Yep. So the head of the household would be in charge of a process called retting. R-E-T, ret means to rot in German. Around here they would have used a dew-retting process, but depending on where your family was from, you may have used a stream or a pond or a lake. So since it was a very important process, the elder male would have been the one to start it. So they would pull it out, leave it lay on one side, let the dew come down overnight, let the sun bake on it during the day, flip it, do the same thing to the other side, and keep checking that until it was properly ready. You didn't want to take it in before it was ready, because then you would not have a good fabric, but you also didn't want to over-ret it, because then your plant would literally be rotten and would just fall apart, creating fabric that would just fall apart. So once it was properly retted, they just stored it away for the rest of the summer, or until the rest of the harvest was done and they had a little bit more time. They would store it in the barn, and then when they were finally ready, they would get it out. We have a kiln over there, which just has a wood fire and wooden slats on top. The heat from the fire and the smoke help to dry out any moisture that's left from the retting process, or anything that would be, any moisture that would have gotten in there from being stored in the barn. Now, our first couple steps here are our breakers, and you can see it starting to take from like a very stiff straw-like structure and making it much more malleable. We have two size breakers here. They might have had very different depending on what your family had. Our larger break is much wider apart, and then down at the bottom you can see that it tapers from a wider to narrower. And you can see all that woody chaff falling with their feet. You want to try and get all that woody chaff out because you do not have that in your fabric. Up until the spinning process, the whole purpose of it is to separate those fibers out of the plant from that woody chaff. So they would work that as much as they possibly can. We have our next step, which is the sketching board with a sketching paddle. So we're going to get it in for our festival. And the sketching paddle would have been a tool that was not put away at the end of any flax sketching. It would have been kept out for any bad kids that needed a good sketching. So you can see little bits of fibers flying out. Those are weak fibers. You don't want those in your fabric. And you can also see that there's still some of that woody chaff coming out, but it's now much smaller at this time. Now this is a very labor-intensive part, and it's, they would often have a flax sketching, much like you have a protein beet or a barn raising. Makes it a lot easier when there's a lot more people. Many hands make light work. So from there, we go to our corner where we have the hackle, also called a hackle. And it's essentially a comb made out of nails. We have two sizes here, but they would have many different sizes depending on what kind of fabric they're making. You would have a very fine one to make a fine linen for something like a wedding dress. As they run it through there, it is essentially combing it It's taking the tangles out, getting more weak fibers out, making it nice and smooth. The fibers that are left in the handle look like this. It's called tow, T-O-W. If you've ever heard of a little kid with long hair being called a tow head, that's where we get that from. And they would have saved that tow. Settlers and pioneers would have not wasted anything, so they used that for a lot of different things. It's a good fire starter due to the oil in the plant, as well as it being dry, it ignited quickly. It was good for cleaning your gun barrel because it was abrasive, yet also conditioning with the oil. They would also put it into the stuffing for your bed, chinking for logs. You can make it into a rope,
like a
as well as even make it into a coarse fabrics and into burlap.
Flax and blonde.
And they run that through there, and as you can see, it looks kind of like fine blonde hair, where we get the term flax and blonde from. So at this point, we start to make some thread. So our spinners here, you'll see them grab a couple of those flax fibers and twist them, as well as dipping every so often into some water to help those fibers stick. This would have been a job that was done all year round. It was women's work, and they would have taught their girls from a very young age how to spin. They needed a lot of thread. Our loom here, as you can see, has many threads, and they're also very, very long. You would need all those threads on your loom before you can even begin to get started. So they will spin. We also have a walking wheel that you can spin on. We call it a walking wheel because you can walk back and forth. You can also use it to transfer the linen thread off of the spinning wheel onto a bobbin that is used on the loom. So they would take the bobbin once it has its thread on it, put it onto the shuttlecock, thread this through one of the eyes, and then you're ready to finally start making some fabric. If you've ever woven any fabric, it's all about the same. It crisscrosses the threads one way, and pass the thread through, crisscrossing the other way, locking it in. From here, they would finally be ready to make some clothing. If you've ever made your own clothes for any reason, you know that you need many yards of clothing, or many yards of fabric to make any clothing. We spend 2 days on it and only make a couple inches, which is why they like to make it a community event, because it took so much to do all this. And they may have only had one loom for many families. From here, they can do, leave the fabric in its natural state. You can see here that beige color, they can sun bleach it, dye it with vegetable dyes. For a more finer linen, especially those who were making them a lot, very often, and it was their clothing, you see back here in this one, the silk to them as finer linen, and you can see in comparison to our jacket here with the leather on top, that is linen that we actually made here at the Flax Scutching. It's probably over 50 years old. You can see it's held up really well. That jacket's been passed through many generations to wear. So it's a very sturdy fabric. It's long lasting, which is why they like to make linen fabric. We have a linen press here that is 2 rollers that just transfer through and presses out any of those wrinkles. If you have any questions for us, please feel free to ask. We've got a bunch more information behind this if you want to read about anything, about whether it's about the festival itself or Flax. We also have a bunch of information about Stahlstown behind us. The souvenir stand is selling flaxseed and some linen. They also have some raffle tickets, I do believe, for sale for today. If you're interested in trying to win $500 or a load of wood. Once again, please feel free to ask us any questions, and thank you so much for coming today.